These two watches that I have, they're almost identical. This is the 16520 Zenith Movement Daytona in a black dial and a white dial. These were produced from 1988 to year 2000. These two watches here was 4 years in the making for me. It took me a while to acquire these things. The reason why I was after these watches is because of the movement. The movement is really something special on these watches. It's historical in the horological world as well as it's historical for Rolex, because this is the very first automatic movement that Rolex put in their chronograph watches. Now this particular piece, it's referred to as the Zenith movement because Zenith actually produced the very first automatic chronograph, and they called it the El Primero, and that was a caliber 400. So when Rolex got the rights to use these movements, they actually did some modification, and it became the caliber 4030. And what they've done is they've actually changed the beats per minute from 36,000 beats per minute down to 28,800 beats per minute and took away the date function. So this particular piece was only in production from 1999 to 2000. If you're familiar with all the nuances of the dial, you can easily spot a Zenith Daytona versus a modern Daytona. They came with stick hour markers as well as stick hands. So they're very, very thin. It just has that delicate look to it. The dial on the Zenith Daytonas came with painted on subdials versus the new ones, they come with silver dials, both the black or the white. So the A series, not only that, the Zenith movements were special watches to begin with because of the movement that they had. There's a characteristic on the A series that's easily spotted by looking at the end link here. The end link on your Zenith Daytonas prior to 1999, they had stamped steel end link. These have solid end link. I actually searched to acquire the Zenith Movement Daytona, and the reason being it's discontinued. They're no longer being manufactured. So it took about 2 years. I mean, literally just searching the internet, and luckily one of the local dealers that I deal with had one, and I actually bought it over the weekend without negotiating. And these were the times when you could kind of wait a little bit, but I didn't want to take my chances, so I just bought it outright.
We know that these Daytonas are only gonna go up in prices. Where do you see these watches in about 5 to 10 years from now?
The Paul Newman Daytonas a long, long time ago, my friend was telling me he saw one for 25 grand. Now they're going for like 250,000 with the Paul Newman dial. So I can only imagine how much more these will appreciate, because if they're in the $40,000 range now, you can imagine. They've gone up in price a lot, so I think people are recognizing these watches. I would say that out of the Daytonas that I have and amongst the other watches that I have, these two I acquired for a reason, because they're very special to me, whether you go with the black or the white. And this is, for me, I will never get rid of these watches. If we're speaking in terms of chess, this would be the king and the queen. This is here to stay.